Shalom y'all, welcome back. So Rosh Hashanah is coming up. Now Rosh Hashanah is the Jewish New Year, and so it's where we flip the calendar and we start over with a new year. Now traditionally in Judaism they celebrate Rosh Hashanah by eating apples and honey. It's to start off the new year sweet. And so usually they eat honey cake. And so that's what I'm going to show you guys how to make today. It's going to be a honey cake with an apple filling. Now what you need to start off with is you need to put 2 1/4 cup of flour in a big bowl, and you have to add all your spices. Now the spices are a teaspoon of baking powder, half a teaspoon of baking soda, a teaspoon and a half of ground cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of ground ginger, half a teaspoon of allspice, and half a teaspoon of cloves, and then you're going to add 3/4 teaspoon of salt. So that all goes in here, and so you have all your different spices, and you can just pour it in with your flour and then just mix that all up. Okay, so once you have that mixed up, you can set it to the side. Now what you're going to do what you're going to do is you're going to take some light brown sugar and you're going to add 1 cup of it into a mixing bowl. So you just have to get 1 cup of brown sugar. Okay, so that's 1/3, and I'm kind of making a mess. No, I really am. Just make sure you do it cleaner than I am, because I'm making a mess. Okay, so that's 2/3. So I'm almost at 1 cup. Let's see. Now this is going to be a sweet cake, but it's going to be really good. Okay, so that is the last of our brown sugar. So it's 1 cup of brown sugar. Now what you're going to have to do is add half a cup of coffee. So I just have it, make sure it's not like really hot, and you just pour that in. Then you need 3/4 cup of oil, so you can use veggie oil, and you just pour that into. And then we're just gonna mix this up. So let's put the lid on. Okay. So actually, after you put the brown sugar and the coffee and the oil in, you're going to put honey in. So you need half a cup of honey. Okay. And just pour that in. Okay. So once you have that, you can mix it up. So after you have combined your ingredients in here, now you have to have 3 eggs, and you're going to add them in one at a time. So you're gonna crack an egg in, and then you're gonna mix it, and then crack another, mix it, crack another, mix it, and then we'll get on to the next step. So it's 1 egg. Okay, so now wash up hands off. Okay. So now that you put your eggs in, you're gonna put 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla extract in. So pour that in, and then mix that up. Okay, now it should be looking pretty watery, but it should look kind of light brownish. Okay, so after you do that, when you put the vanilla in, you are going to add this flour mix that we made earlier. So you're just going to take it, and you're going to put half of it in first, and then you're going to do the other half after that. So make sure it's all mixed up on the bottom, and you have all those spices in it. Okay, so just put about half of the flour mix in there. Make sure you try not to splash all your stuff. And then you're going to put the other half in. Slowly so you don't fly. And you do not overmix. Don't overmix this. So you want it to be like just mixed. And then once it's all mixed, go in and make sure all the sides are mixed in. Just go along the sides. Okay. So now it should look like this. So it kind of like holds its shape better. It's not super liquidy. It's more like a batter. Okay. So now that the batter is done, you're going to have to cut up apples. And so we'll come over here for that. Okay. So this is all the spices. It's a wreck. Alright. So I've already done a cup, but you need 4 cups of apples. So first you're going to have to peel the apple. So just peel the apple all the way. Okay. So, once your apple is peeled, alright, so our apple is peeled. Now what you're going to do is just cut along the sides so you don't cut into the core, but get as much of the apple as possible. So you have the little block in the middle left, and you should not have any skin. So then you're going to take your apples and just dice them. So cut them one way first. Usually I do it the short way. And just cut them kind of just normal size. And then once you get all that cut, just go down and cut them so they make these little lines. And just do that for all of them. And then if your little lines get too big, you can cut them in half. So you just want to dice this apple. Alright, so you diced that part of it. Now you just go on to the next one and you just keep doing the same thing. And then after this apple, it's probably only going to be about 1.5 cups. So you're going to need a good amount of apples before you get to 4 cups. So you just keep cutting them. So now after you've cut up your apples, so you have 4 cups of apples, what you're going to do now is you're going to take 1/3 cup of brown sugar, and you're going to throw that in there. And you're going to take 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, and you're going to put that in there. And then you're just going to mix all of the apple and cinnamon up. And make sure all your apples get coated nice and evenly, because this is going to be our filling. Okay. So now they look nice and pretty, all goldeny, right? Okay. So what you're going to do now is take a bundt pan. So a bundt pan, as you can see, has a raised center and it has designs on the bottom. So when you make it, we're going to put it in like this, but then when it's done, we're going to flip it like that, and then it'll be standing up. So it's kind of like an upside down cake. That's what we're making. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our batter from earlier, and we're going to pour about half of it into this bundt pan that has been greased and floured. So spread out your batter. Alright, so once you have about half of the batter in, you're going to set this back over here, and you're going to take your apple mix and just put it along right on top of that. So just try to keep it even across the surface. and you might not have to use the whole mix. So if you don't want to use all 4 cups of apples, that's fine. Just whatever suits your taste. You can put as many apples as you want in. Yeah. Alright, so just make sure they're all spread out. You want a nice even filling. Okay. So I think that's all the filling that I'm going to use. Just about. Okay. So I think that's good for me. So set that off to the side. Now, okay, as you can see, we have covered it all in the apples. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take the rest of the batter. Make sure you get all of it. And I'm going to pour that back over. I'm going to try to get as much as the batter out as possible. Use all of it. Okay. So now, that will be the last of it. Alright, so now that we have all of our batter in the bun, you gotta spread it out. Just make sure it covers all of the apples. No apples may show. Okay, and we want it all nice and flat, covered. So it should look like this. So you see, you can't see any apples, and it's risen because we have all of our batter in there. Okay, so now your oven should be preheated to 350 degrees, and we're gonna put it in for about 50 to 60 minutes. And at 50 minutes, we're gonna start checking it to see if it hasn't overbaked. And we'll keep it in until we can insert a toothpick and nothing comes out. Alright, so we're going to leave that in for 50 to 60 minutes and we'll come back then. So 50 minutes later, our honey cake is done. So you see, I can pull it from the oven. And I can put a skewer in it, and it comes out clean. So that means it's done. It's nice, firm. It smells really good. So that's what it looks like. And now we just have to wait for it to cool, and our bundt cake will be done. So it'll probably take we'll probably flip it in about 10 minutes and we'll see what it looks like. Okay, so about 15 minutes later, our honey cake has cooled off a bit. So now we're going to flip it onto the tray so it can finish cooling off. So just set it to the side, pick up your tray, flip the tray over onto the bundt cake. And then take it, Flip it. Okay, and that is what our bundt cake looks like. It's flipped. It's all good. So you can see that's what it looks like from above. Alright. So we're all done. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to hit the like button, and if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel for future videos, and I'll see you in the next one.